Talk to the police if you want to, you will never get a penny from us. 5 years ago, I was hit by a car while riding my bicycle. The driver turned across the front of me, pretty much into me, and I had absolutely nowhere to go. I hit the passenger door of the car, then tumbled over the front of the car, still clipped into my pedals, taking it with me. The car was pretty damaged. I dented the door, scratched the paint in many places, ripped the door mirror off, smashed the glass, cracked the windshield, and dented/scratched the bonnet, hood. My bicycle emerged fairly well. I think I broke its fall mostly. The front wheel was bent, the saddle torn, and the pedals/bar tape damaged from hitting the road. I broke my collarbone and lost a lot of skin in various places that hit the road. I trashed my helmet and my shorts too. The driver said, "Sorry mate, I did not see you." Which was pretty obvious. The car was his daughter's, and he was taking his grandson out for an ice cream. The poor little boy got covered in glass from the door window that exploded inwards when I hit it, but seemed to be okay. The driver gave me his phone number and I took a photo of his driving license and insurance details along with a pile of photos at the scene. I got the details of 2 witnesses too before I passed out from the pain. This all happened on a Friday. I got patched up at the hospital and my partner was able to get my bike home. Because of my broken collarbone, I was in a huge amount of pain while the doctors could figure out if it needed to be pinned or not. Over the weekend, on the Saturday morning, I called the driver and his phone went straight to voicemail. I had taken a good look at my bike and figured out it needed about 350 pounds worth of parts, wheel, forks, saddle, new bar tape, etc., and something for my cracked phone screen. I guessed 150 pounds. On the message I left him, I said that I was not sure if he wanted to pay for the parts, or go through his insurance. His daughter called me back and shouted and swore at me for damaging her car. I explained that he has turned across the front of me and it was his poor driving to blame. I mentioned that I was sitting on my sofa with a broken collarbone as a result of him and all I wanted was to get my bike fixed. "You will never get a penny from me. Talk to the police if you want to, we will tell them that it was not my car. You will never get a penny from us." Okay. I can comply with that. I called the local police station and they sent a constable down to see me. I carefully explained what had happened and showed him the photos from the scene, the damage to my bicycle, phone, helmet, and shorts, gave him the details of the witness and several cups of tea, and he advised me to get a solicitor on the case too, so I did just that. My bicycle insurance has legal aid cover, so I used it. Long story short, I had 3 surgeries on my shoulder over the next 18 months or so. The insurance details that the driver gave me was fake. The daughter's insurance company did not cover her father as a driver. The driver had 6 points on his license already, but crucially the police found he had insurance with a company that did cover him on her car, but only for third-party cover. He only admitted this when they threatened to charge him with driving without insurance and documentation fraud. The police eventually convicted him and gave him enough points to ban him from driving for a year and fined him £1,500 and costs. The insurance company that he was with was one of these "we only cover really bad drivers," obviously did not pay out for the damage to the car. This was probably another £1,500 or more. The insurance company paid for my bicycle damage, £550 once assessed by a local shop. They also paid for my clothing and helmet, £200, and my phone screen, £180. Then finally the insurance company paid compensation for my injuries and time off, etc. I would have been quite happy for them to pay for my initial assessment of my bicycle and phone damage, but as they wanted to make my life difficult, it cost them thousands. Got the driver banned and the resulting compensation was a massive bonus for my savings account. Edit. Thank you kind strangers for the gold and silver. Edit 2. For those asking for a TLDR. TLDR, driver with questionable insurance driving his daughter's car hit me while I was cycling and broke my bike and my collarbone. When asked to fix the bike, his daughter called me and told me to go to the police if I wanted, as she would deny everything and I would not get a penny. I went to the police, who suggested a solicitor 2, and 4 years later the court awarded me about 100x more than I originally asked for. Edit 3. Yes. Bicycle insurance is a thing. My bicycles are insured though British cycling. My cover includes loss or damage and third-party cover plus legal.
Now to the comments. Biking is pretty popular here and I just happened to sit through a presentation by an attorney who specializes in bike accidents. We do not have bike insurance, instead people are covered by a mixture of auto and home insurance depending on how they're involved. One of his recommendations was to get lights for your bike. Most drivers would just say they never saw the bike, so anything to increase visibility.
OP replied. At the time of the crash, I had a bright orange helmet, a very bright flashing rear light with matching strobe front light. I was wearing an orange t-shirt and dark cycling shorts, orange socks, and black cycling shoes. It was also just before 1 p.m. on a lovely sunny day. I tend to think that most drivers would not see a cyclist if they were head-to-toe dye-glow with disco laser beams on their helmet. Bicycles are not a threat. Distracted drivers never notice them.
A car driver once reversed into me. I was wearing a bright yellow helmet, bright yellow/orange/pink jacket, reflective armbands, and had strobe front and rear lights. Fortunately, I managed to mostly avoid him and got away with a minor scratch on my little finger. Good for you for following through. My wife and I both wear obnoxious helmets and bright clothing and have lights even during the day. That way at least if they say I didn't see you, we have done everything we can. I always assume nobody sees me. And thankfully where I live, we have lots of bikes so people are used to them, but there are still a-holes who drive by feel, or hate bikes. Glad you're okay.
Same reason I wear an obnoxiously bright and breathable shirt when I run, and I make sure that the people living with me know the route I take.
I can tell you are not from the USA. No mention of medical bills in the settlements.
OP replied. Yeah. Total out-of-pocket was about £8 for prescription painkillers. There was no bill for the 3 shoulder surgeries, 2 lots of metal work plus removal, stitches in my hand and lots of gravel removal from my hand, knee, and ankle. Compared to my $125,000 out-of-pocket broken wrist / while I lived in the US, it was quite the bargain. / an out-of-state and an out-of-network hospital dealt with me when I was in a quad bike crash. The ambulance took me to the wrong hospital to stop me from bleeding to death due to a severed artery. The original bill for emergency surgery, blood transfusion, titanium pins, and 2 nights in ICU was $125,780. Because my insurance company, Blue Shield, Blue Cross, declined due to OON, the only way to get the bill down was to hire a medical billing negotiator. They managed to get it down to just $22,000 for a fee.
For anyone in the US reading, insurance companies now have to pay on emergencies, even if out of network. I'm glad you are recovering. My mum was in a similar accident when she was in her 50s, face first into the side of a saloon full of women her age in deep conversation who turned right in front of her. Fortunately, her helmet protected her head, but her face was smashed. Their insurance paid. As she puts it, I got free plastic surgery.
I had to look up saloon. The US meaning of saloon is like a bar or pub, so I envisioned a pub full of women crashing into a bike rider. That didn't quite make sense, lol.
I parsed the sentence out of order, so my first image was someone crashing their car into the side of the pub. At the end of all that, at the end of it all, I wouldn't have been able to help myself texting the number that he'd been given, something along the lines of, "Hey, you might remember me as the guy who offered to take 3 digits for repairs and such. I just wanted to thank for you giving me 5 digits instead. Much appreciated. By the way, this number is being blocked immediately after sending this. But bye."
OP replied. I thought long and hard about this, but in the end, seeing the driver banned for a year and the daughter's posts on Facebook about her ruined car, the police interviewing her and then later her father's ban, was actually really satisfying. It would have been pushing my karma to follow up anymore.
Wait, you had them on Facebook too? Screw text messages, I'd have been making the comments on there. Screw karma, what could they have done? You were making a comment on something they'd already been found guilty of. What were they going to do? Sue you for hurt feelings? Yes, it's petty as duck, but I guess I just would have revealed in the pure unadulterated ducking rage it would have generated. Man, good thing you were there to break your bike's fall.
OP replied. Exactly, it's all about the bike.
I was involved in accident once. A police officer did come to the scene and ticketed the driver. A day later I called to arrange to have my car fixed and the other driver told me I was speeding and he would not pay anything. Having never been in an accident I was somewhat taken back. I called the police station and the officer called me back. He was right when he said, I ticketed him. There is no other person who was at wrong. You will hear from his insurance company. I just think people behave badly or not, both driving and being accountable.